Today's video is going to be about the ceramic process, and this is on the back side of your stages of clay notes. And so make sure you have those notes first. This is specific to my class, Miss O's class, and this is the process here. We start over here and we go along this arrow. So the first thing is I will give assignments and I will demonstrate or show examples or give you some sort of instruction. And then you're going to make it out of plastic clay. You can see there's plastic. And this usually takes approximately 5 days. So if you'd write that down. And this is the time to ask questions. Okay, and then once you have finished it, you're going to let it dry on your shelf till it gets to greenware. Now, some projects you might need to wait until it's leather hard in here and then do something to it, but generally you're just going to let it dry on your shelf, and once it's at greenware, you can't attach anything anymore. Okay, it is also the most fragile. So you don't want to go over there and touch it or move it. You just want to leave it alone. If it breaks, you will need to redo. Okay, and usually if it breaks at this part, it means that you didn't do some sort of the techniques that we are trying to learn, the skills. You didn't do those correctly. Okay, so that's kind of user error, and so you want to make sure that you redo it if it breaks at the greenware stage, pretty much until it gets into the kiln. Okay, and once it is totally dried out, it's going to go into the kiln. And the kiln, the bisque kiln here, we do on most Fridays. So if you say, well, when's the next bisque kiln? Next Friday. And you need to put it in the bisque kiln yourself. If it breaks along that process, again, you're going to need to redo it. The bisque kiln gets up to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Really hot, flesh melting hot. Okay, it takes 48 hours to fire, and in the kiln, items can touch. In the kiln. This will become important later on when items can't touch in the kiln. So throughout this process, up until this line right here, you can recycle the clay, and we talked about that on the other side of this sheet. So can recycle clay. Okay, so if you make something and it breaks apart, we can recycle that clay, reuse it, and it's a really good use of materials, and so we don't have to buy more. Once it goes in the kiln, this line right here, a chemical change is made. So I'm going to turn it this way. Right, a chemical change is made, and it cannot be reversed. And that chemical chain is made through heat, right? That really high temperature there. And now You cannot recycle. It's more like rock, actually. And I know that you can grind down rock, but in this classroom, we don't grind down and do all that kind of stuff. Most ceramic studios don't do that. So with this heat and this chemical change, it's kind of like, volcanic rock comes out of the volcano, the lava, and it used to be lava, and now it's rock. So like rock. Then you are going to glaze your assignment, and we'll talk about that later. And then you're going to place it in the glaze kiln. Okay, and this is most Wednesdays. Okay, so if you say, when's the next glaze kiln? It's on Wednesday. Again, this gets up to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is 24 hours to fire. And so usually we put it in Wednesday evening. It fires from Wednesday evening to Thursday evening. And hopefully by Friday morning, it is cooled down enough for us to touch it. But it slowly cools down. We don't like turn on an air conditioner or put ice on it. We do not want to speed up the cooling down process in any way. So when you say, when is the kiln cool? Well, just whenever it's cold. And sometimes if it's snowing outside, since our kiln is outside, it might take a lot quicker time to cool down. And if it's a warm, sunny day, it might take a lot longer to cool down. So that's something out of our control. Here, items cannot touch. Not touch. Okay, the glaze is actually glass, and so if the items were to touch, then they would fuse together. And so we'll talk about that when we talk about glazing. But there is no glaze on the bottom, and I probably should have put that right over here when you do this, but no. And you will hear me say this over and over again. This is kind of right in this little area over here. No glaze on the bottom, because the glaze, again, it turns to glass. It would fuse to the kiln shelf, and then you would buy me a new kiln shelf. And I would have a kiln shelf with ceramics attached to it forever. Or I'd have to break it. So no glaze on the bottom, and we'll talk about that when we do glazing. Okay, then you're going to fill out the assignment sheet and bring it to me. You're probably going to fill out the assignment sheet. This is going to be online for the most part on Canvas, but you're still going to bring me your ceramics. I still look at your ceramics, and I'll grade it right in front of you. Right here, I'll grade it right in front of you immediately. So when you bring it up to me, we'll have a conversation about it, and I will look at your assignment online, and I will grade it. Okay, so that's the process that we go through in class. Please ask me questions in class about this. This is something that you should know by the end of the semester, all of this stuff. And it's the thing that we'll do week after week after week. So it won't be so intimidating towards the end of the semester. All right, so have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.